The conquerors arrive. The sky over Earth split open like a wound. Enormous shadows descended, blotting out the sun as ships the size of cities hung in orbit. For the people below, it felt as if the heavens themselves had turned hostile. The Dravkai Dominion had come. For centuries, the Dominion had spread across the stars, crushing weaker civilizations beneath their heel. Their warriors were bred for strength, their technology unmatched, their empire unquestioned. To them, Earth was nothing more than another conquest, another nameless planet to fuel their war machine. On the Dominion's command vessel, Overseer Virik studied the blue-green orb with contempt. Fragile things, he muttered to his officers. Short-lived, disease-ridden, and primitive. These humans will make excellent labor stock. His words drew approving growls from his armored subordinates. The invasion began with cold precision. Warships speed through the atmosphere, dropping fire upon Earth's cities. Missiles and bombs shattered defenses within hours. Human jets scrambled into the skies but were swatted down by energy lances that tore them apart like paper. Tanks rolled forward, only to melt under plasma barrages. It was not a war, it was slaughter. In New York, buildings collapsed into burning husks as terrified crowds scattered through the streets. In Beijing, entire districts were reduced to ash in seconds. Across the globe, the story was the same. Resistance met overwhelming firepower, and within days, the world's armies were broken. The Dravkai expected surrender. That was how other species had behaved. Once beaten, they submitted. But humans were different. Even as their cities burned, something else began to ignite. Pockets of defiance rose in the ruins. In the hills of Afghanistan, guerrilla fighters struck at patrols with nothing but rifles and homemade explosives. In South America, villages sheltered fugitives and ambushed supply convoys. Even in devastated cities, civilians crafted traps out of rubble, striking at the conquerors from the shadows. The Dominion soldiers laughed at first. To them, these humans were weak animals thrashing in the jaws of death. But laughter turned to irritation as casualties mounted. One incident stood out. On a farm in rural France, a squad of Dominion enforcers came to seize food stores. They found instead a farmer with nothing but a shotgun and a rusted blade. He fought like a man possessed, cutting down 2 armored soldiers before the others finally brought him down. His defiance shocked them, not because he had killed, but because he had fought knowing he could not win. Reports like this spread across the Dominion ranks. The humans did not surrender. They did not kneel. They resisted with an intensity the Empire had never encountered. Overseer Virik dismissed it as an annoyance. They are weak. This resistance is nothing more than desperation. Yet, in his words lingered a shadow of doubt. For the first time in his long career of conquest, he sensed something unfamiliar stirring on this world. The humans were not behaving like prey, and that truth would soon shake the Dominion to its core. The resistance awakens. The world was burning, but humanity refused to lie in the ashes. In the forests of Eastern Europe, a man named Elias Ward crouched in the ruins of an old farmhouse. Once a decorated soldier, he had seen the front lines collapse in the first week of the invasion. Now, with no uniform and no orders, he fought as a leader of something far older than armies, rebellion. Around him, a handful of men and women prepared for their next strike. They were teachers, mechanics, farmers, and students. None had formal training, but they carried stolen Dominion rifles, scavenged explosives, and the sharpest weapon of all, desperation. Elias spoke quietly, his voice carrying steady authority. We can't beat them head-on, but they bleed. And if they bleed, they can die. We don't need strength. We need to think. The plan was simple: sabotage. Dominion patrols relied on armored transports to move through human territory. If they could disable one, it would prove the invaders weren't invincible. That night, hidden in the tree line, the resistance waited as a convoy rumbled down the cracked road. Elias held his breath, watching through binoculars as massive treaded vehicles churned the dirt. He signaled with his hand. A charge detonated beneath the lead transport. Fire split the darkness, flipping the alien machine onto its side. Human fighters swarmed from hiding, tossing Molotovs and gunfire into the confusion. Dominion soldiers spilled out, firing plasma rifles, but the resistance fought with cunning. They struck from multiple angles, vanished into smoke, then reappeared where least expected. Within minutes, it was over. The convoy lay in ruin, Dominion bodies scattered among the wreckage. Elias's people vanished back into the night, leaving only burning machines and unanswered questions behind. Word of the victory spread faster than fire. Across continents, other survivors took courage. Farmers buried explosives in their fields. Engineers repurposed drones as weapons. Children spread false signals to mislead alien patrols. Humanity's weakness, its lack of uniformity, had become its strength. No two attacks were alike, no strategy predictable. The Dominion commanders grew restless. They had faced resistance before, but never like this. The humans were reckless, irrational, and terrifyingly effective. Every ruined convoy, every destroyed outpost was a reminder that the conquest was not complete. On the command ship, Overseer Varick scowled at the reports. How do these creatures persist? Their cities are ash, their armies scattered, yet they strike like predators in the dark. One of his advisors shifted uneasily. Perhaps, Overseer, we underestimated them. Varick silenced him with a glare, but the seed of doubt had taken root. Meanwhile, Elias stood over the wreckage of another Dominion machine, his hands blackened with smoke. He felt no triumph, only grim determination. The fight ahead would be long, but he had seen something tonight that gave him hope. The invaders could be beaten. The spark of resistance had caught flame, and it would spread until the world itself burned against its conquerors. The war of attrition. The Dominion responded to resistance with fury. Entire neighborhoods were leveled from orbit. Villages were burned, their populations slaughtered as warnings. For every human attack, the invaders killed hundreds. By their calculations, this should have broken Earth's spirit. But it didn't. Instead, every act of brutality only deepened humanity's resolve. Across continents, the resistance swelled. Where once there were scattered cells, Elias Ward and others like him forged networks. Farmers and hunters became scouts. Engineers repurposed alien scrap into crude but lethal weapons. Doctors treated wounds with whatever they could find, keeping fighters alive when logic said they should be dead. The war had shifted into something the Dominion had never faced before: attrition. In the forests of South America, Dominion patrols refused to enter without heavy escort. Too many had vanished, their armored bodies dragged into undergrowth by invisible enemies. In Africa's deserts, humans lured convoys into sandstorms, striking when machines stalled. In the ruins of American cities, snipers picked off officers from rooftops, vanishing before retaliation could arrive. The Dominion soldiers whispered of ghosts, fragile creatures that should have been broken but instead hunted them with relentless cunning. Elias moved constantly, leading his fighters from one strike to the next. Each victory was small: an ambushed patrol, a destroyed supply line. But together they bled the Dominion. One night, after a raid on a fuel depot, Elias studied a captured datapad. It revealed something astonishing. Dominion supply fleets were stretched thin. Earth was not an isolated conquest. The Dominion fought wars on dozens of fronts. Here, on this one insignificant planet, humanity had become a thorn they could not easily remove. This is how we win, Elias told his people. Not with strength, with time. Every day we endure, they grow weaker. Every drop of their blood spilled here will echo across their empire. Meanwhile, within the Dominion High Command, unease festered. General Carath, a veteran of countless campaigns, examined the history of his new enemy. What he read unsettled him. Humans had survived plagues, famines, and endless wars with each other. They had endured the freezing void of space with fragile machines. Their civilizations had risen and fallen, yet always they clawed their way back. These creatures, he muttered to his staff, they are not weak. They are forged in struggle. Every hardship makes them stronger. We thought them prey, but they are predators that thrive on adversity. Still, the Dominion pushed forward. They unleashed new weapons, new horrors, but humans adapted again and again. Plasma shielding was countered with improvised explosives. Drones were hacked and turned against their masters. Even Dominion warships in orbit found themselves targeted by human ingenuity, sabotaged with computer viruses built from salvage tech. By the third month, the war that was supposed to last a week had become a quagmire. And across the galaxy, whispers spread. The humans of Earth had not fallen. They were fighting back. They were wrong. The Dominion's banners once hung over Earth's shattered cities. Now, they burned. Months of relentless resistance had pushed the invaders into desperation. Their fleets orbited overhead, but fuel lines ran dry. Their soldiers patrolled streets with fear in their eyes. Every shadow hit a human with a rifle, a blade, or a homemade bomb. Elias Ward stood in a ruined subway station, maps and stolen datapads spread across a cracked table. His fighters crowded around, weary but unbroken. "This is it," he said. "Their command hub is in Berlin. Cut off the head, and the body dies." The plan was suicide by Dominion standards. Humans didn't care. They weren't bred for conquest. They were bred for survival. Under cover of night, resistance cells from across Europe converged on the fortified alien stronghold. The Dominion had dug deep, walls bristling with plasma turrets, patrols circling like wolves. But wolves had never faced prey that struck back. The assault began with fire. Homemade rockets and stolen plasma launchers tore into the perimeter. Dominion soldiers surged forward in formation. Disciplined, armored, certain of their superiority. The humans met them with chaos. Traps hidden in rubble collapsed buildings onto enemy squads. Fighters darted in and out, firing from alleys, vanishing into smoke. Elias led from the front, his rifle scavenged, his armor mismatched from fallen foes. He was not stronger, not faster, but every decision he made turned weakness into advantage. Inside the command hub, Overseer Varric watched the battle unfold with growing dread. His soldiers were falling. His reinforcements were cut off. And worst of all, the humans weren't retreating. They pressed forward with terrifying resolve, even when outgunned, even when blooded. In the heart of the battle, Elias's strike team breached the command center. Explosives ripped open steel doors, and human fighters stormed through. Varric drew his plasma blade, towering over Elias, certain that brute strength would end this rebellion. Their clash was brief. Elias ducked beneath the swing, firing point-blank into the Overseer's chest. The alien staggered, stunned more by disbelief than pain. Humans were supposed to be weak, fragile, broken. Yet here one stood, unyielding. With his final breath, Varric rasped, "We're never meant to win." Elias leaned close, his voice a whisper like steel. "We weren't meant to. We chose to." The Overseer fell. News of the hub's fall spread like wildfire. Across Earth, Dominion soldiers abandoned their posts. Supply fleets turned back. What began as an invasion ended in humiliation. For the first time in centuries, the Dominion had been beaten by a species they had mocked as frail. Weeks later, survivors gathered on the steps of a ruined capital. Elias addressed them, his voice carrying to every corner of the battered world. "They thought we were weak," he said. "They were wrong. Weakness taught us to endure. Weakness taught us to fight harder, to adapt faster, to never surrender. And now the galaxy knows. Humanity is no one's prey." Above, the last Dominion ships fled Earth's skies. And across the stars, other oppressed worlds listened to the rumors spreading like wildfire.